everybody, and welcome back to the next British Touring Car 2022 race review. With me is my good friend Ben. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to be reviewing Silverstone, or Silverstone National Circuit as it is known. A few things to quickly point out before we do start. That the link to the playlist is down in the description. I will mention, for the most part, over the next coming weeks, that the plan is to get the ones from earlier this season back out again to you guys if we can do that regarding ITV and everything. And we're going to try and make sure we can get the footage and the videos to you guys as best as we can in due course. Anyway, Silverstone provided quite the spectacle for the penultimate round of the season. Obviously, we've still got Brands Hatch to go, but Silverstone actually put on a really good show. So moving into qualifying, we had a single red flag during the entire session, which was due to George Gamble's BMW stopping on track. It was 26 cars qualified within a second, which was quite something, especially given the shortness of the circuit. But in the end, it was Rory Butcher who put in a surprise performance to take pole position with a 57.374 from Jake Hill in second and Adam Morgan in third, who were 37 thousandths of a second and 88 thousandths of a second back, respectively. So moving into race one. Race one saw a pretty hectic start. Great start, though, by Rory Butcher to lead into turn one. Ingram managed to get past Morgan coming into Woodcote Corner and then started to hunt down Hill in front. Sutton dropped back to ninth. Lap 3 saw 7 cars all fighting for second, with Hill managing to hold off the likes of Ingram, Collard, Camish, Shedden, Morgan and Turkington. At the end of lap 3, we saw Turkington get tagged and spun off and drop down the order, which wasn't great for his title hopes. Further down the field, we saw the likes of Jade Edwards, Sam Osborne and Will Powell all slugging it out for position, which was obviously great to see. I'm glad the cameras picked it up. Teammates came together as Dan Lloyd and Tom Chilton hit each other on lap 5 as they were jostling for position. At the front, Butcher pulled out a huge gap over Jake Hill and was about 3 seconds to the good on lap 6. However, at the end of lap 6, coming on to start of lap 7, we saw Gordon Shedden take on Camish for 4th, with the Honda coming out on top, and it was a great little battle to watch. Lap 8, though, following on from this, saw another big scrap. This time it was a 6-way scrap for 18th place, with Jack Butel tagging Aidan Moffat into Maggot's corner. In terms of bad luck, Jack Butel got it quite badly when what could only be described as dodgems bashing into each other happened, which took both Butel and Turkington out of the race. However, Turkington later got back in the race to test the repairs that the team had done to his car before race 2, so it was great that he managed to get the car repaired and back out again. Back at the front, though, Jake Hill managed to close in on Butcher, taking Morgan with him. The gap came down to less than a second on lap 11, and he really hunted him down. Once them rear-wheel drives really get into rhythm, they really go. Then we had Sam Osborne and Ash Hand, who came together on lap 11 at Beckett's, with the Vauxhall getting put into the gravel, and this in turn brought out the safety car. When the safety car went back in, we saw Dan Lloyd get past Stephen Jelly for 10th place on lap 17, with a great move up the inside at Beckett's. Nick Hamilton came into the pits with damage. We saw him pitting, unsure as to what the damage was caused from. We got a black and orange flag, so that usually means there's something wrong with your car, you must pit, for George Gamble on lap 19. This was due to his splitter at the front coming loose, which in turn affected his front downforce, which obviously isn't great on a circuit like Silverstone National, where you do need all the downforce you can get. He did put on lap 21 to fix the damage, and I believe got sent back out again, but obviously to the back of the field. Aidan Moffat was badly damaged on his front left wheel arch and had to pit on lap 22, and was hence out of the race. However, at the front, no matter what Jake Hill threw at him, it was Rory Butcher who brought it home to win for the first time this season, with Jake Hill, obviously like I said, and Adam Morgan rounding out the podium. So your race 1 results are as follows. Rory Butcher was your race winner, with Jake Hill and Adam Morgan rounding out the podium. Gordon Shedden was 4th, ahead of Tom Ingram, who also bagged the fastest lap, in 5th. Ahead of both Napa Racing Fords of Sutton and Camish in 6th and 7th. Then we saw Ricky Collard in 8th, Stephen Jelly in 9th, and Tom Chilton in 10th. And it's over to Ben for race 2.
Hello, and for race 2, Hill gets a bad start, and Morgan leads to a great battle between the two of them because he manages to get a better start. Morgan goes straight on and manages to get right up alongside Hill, and just basically both of them just going for it. Right near the end of the lap, however, Shedden just goes alongside both Hill and Morgan and just goes cleanly past them both, going straight after them because they're both still attacking and defending. And then Hill is slightly behind him, so he then follows. And then Sutton follows off cheekily behind, ready to pounce and go on to take second. Sutton manages to go past on the outside, while Hill clings onto the back of Shedden as they go on to lap 2. Hill stays on the inside of Sutton and gains third, while Morgan keeps behind Hill to take fourth, as Sutton loses places on the outside of the first corner. Morgan and Hill tap going into the first corner, and Sutton gains the advantage to take fourth back. Morgan then goes into the back of Sutton, and Sutton moves across the track. This gives Hill a slight gap as he goes on to lap 3. So you now have Shedden, who's behind Butcher, and then behind him is Hill, then Morgan, then Sutton, not far behind, who's ready. On lap 4, Sutton has wheel arch damage. You can see this because it's flapping around, but it's clearly not slowing him down because he takes the fastest lap of the race. Ingram then takes Morgan with a really big dive. Just cleanly just goes for it, as Hill manages to take Shedden with a great overtake going on to lap 5. So Hill's now up into second. Patterson gets hit by Nick Hamilton, and this causes him to go cleanly into the gravel, and his car's just stuck, and this just brings straight out the safety car. We restart again on lap 9, and Butcher sets off late, but manages to still keep first. On lap 11, Hill plans his attack, goes cleanly straight on the inside of Butcher, giving Butcher no choice but to take the outside line for the whole rest of the lap, and then just takes the lead, going straight on to lap 12 with Butcher clinging on. Hill manages to keep the lead and gains enough to leave Butcher now defending Shedden. And then Nick Hamilton takes out Parfit, but both cars manage to carry on after Parfit has to turn his car around because he basically got spun by Nick Hamilton. On lap 17, Collard is in the gravel with his car on fire. He quickly gets out, which is safe, and then the marshals manage to get there to help him. Then he runs back into his car to turn the electrics off to make it safe for the marshals and everything to sort, which causes him to inhale a lot of smoke. So you see him going off to the side of his car, having to spit everything out and coughing up. Luckily, he gets to a medical team and they take him off to be examined and check him over, which is brilliant to see. At least he got looked after. This brings out the safety car because the car's on fire, and this is on lap 18. On lap 20, we managed to get a great restart where Hill just takes off immediately, quickly using the corners where the front-wheel drive cars have a disadvantage, so he can just gain a really good lead. The last lap, Hill has an insanely massive lead. I think he had like a second of advantage coming off the restart, and he basically just kept it going. With Butcher and Shedden close, and then Sutton and Ingram right at the back of them two. Hill gets a brilliant win. What a great win for him. So your race 2 results are Jake Hill was your winner, Butcher in second, Shedden in third, Sutton in fourth, Ingram in fifth, he also has the fastest lap, 6th is Morgan, 7th is Camish, 8th is Cook, 9th is Thompson, and 10th is Taylor Smith. Over to you for race 3, Brad.
Thanks, Ben. So race 3, as most people probably would have predicted, it was very chaotic. And fair to say, nobody saw what was going to happen in terms of what they were about to see within the course of one lap. So race 3 saw a great start by Adam Morgan, but it was Cook who held the lead. However, Ingram did manage to jump up to third before an interesting turn of fortune. So Adam Morgan went behind Cook, going into Beckett's corner, I believe, and he tagged him from behind. They both went wide. This allowed Ingram, Sutton, and Butcher to get past. With all the chaos that was going on behind, Ingram probably couldn't believe his luck. Shedden tagged Hill after getting squeezed, with both being lucky not to be taken out and Hill not being spun round, so he's very lucky in that regard. Parfitt and Edwards were in the thick of it at the back, with Powell colliding with Parfitt, who in turn turned Jade Edwards around at Beckett's corner. There was what looked to be a 5 to 6 way fight for 7th, with Ollie Jackson at the head of it, which was pure chaos from what I could tell. It was great to watch, though, I'll be honest. Cook and Camish battled over 4th place, with Camish getting through into Brooklyn's corner. Nice, easy move. Very clean, fair to say. However, Morgan's luck ran out pretty fast in this race, as within the first few laps, he went from the front to the back and out of the race with major damage after he got spun in the midfield by Stephen Jelly on lap 5. And then, to add insult to injury, he then got tagged by both Ricky Collard and Ash Hand, who were avoiding action. So basically, Adam Morgan spun in the middle of the track after he got tagged. They had nowhere to go. Both collided and went off the road in terms of both trying to avoid him. So that was unfortunate. It did force all 3 drivers out. Morgan did manage to get his car back to the pits, but obviously retirement was inevitable. This in turn brought out the safety car. Hill, though, looked fired up, so when the safety car went in, he immediately moved forward and got past Jackson for 7th on lap 10. However, shortly following this, Nick Hamilton's car came to a stop, and the safety car immediately came back out for its second appearance in the race. Literally straight out, straight back in. But then, obviously, when once the safety car went back in, Hill carried on his charge and took Chilton around the outside into Brooklands, with Hill also getting past Josh Cook on lap 15. Later in the race, on lap 18, we saw Dan Camish and Jake Hill go head-to-head, with the BMW coming out on top for 4th place and hunting down Rory Butcher for 3rd. Shedden and Chilton went head-to-head through a full lap, with both of them going side-by-side through most of the corners, and it was great racing. Chilton eventually came out on top, however, there was contact with Shedden, which basically solidified his position. Not a great end to it, but obviously contact was made, and what can you do? It is touring cars. But up at the front, though, it was Tom Ingram who led from the very start after he got into the lead and took the win from Ash Sutton and Rory Butcher, who rounded out the podium. Colin Turkington, who was already having a bad day anyway, topped that off with him finishing down in 12th place, which was a terrible result given where Hill had finished. So your race 3 results are as follows. Tom Ingram was your race winner with the fastest lap, ahead of Ash Sutton and Rory Butcher in 3rd. Jake Hill was 4th, ahead of Dan Camish in 5th. Then we had Josh Cook in 6th, Tom Chilton 7th, Gordon Shedden in 8th, Ollie Jackson in 9th, and Aaron Taylor-Smith in 10th place. So what does that do to the driver standings? Well, going into the final race weekend of the year, race event of the year, race meeting of the year, things could not be any closer at the top of the table. We have Ash Sutton leading the way by 5 points from Tom Ingram and only 7 points ahead of Jake Hill in 3rd. Colin Turkington now 27 points behind in 4th place. Then we have a massive gap back to Rory Butcher in 5th, ahead of Josh Cook in 6th. Gordon Shedden in 7th, ahead of Dan Camish, Adam Morgan and Stephen Jelly to round out the top 10. So Ben, who are your winners from this weekend?
Definitely Hill, definitely Ingram. They're probably the main 2 for me by a long shot. Them 2 just proved they knew what was going on with the weekend, and they basically just thought, if you don't have it on this weekend, that's it. Sutton's done quite well to keep where he is. He's obviously still leading the championships. I can't not say him. And then after that, I wouldn't actually say anyone else this weekend. There's probably 1 or 2 who did it here and there, but for me, it was pretty much Hill and Ingram knew what they had to do, and they pretty much went and did it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think obviously the 3 now we're down to basically 3 title contenders. I'm not going to count Turkington out, but he has got an outside shot. He's the outsider.
No
for
chance.
The championship.
He's got no chance.
But then again, we might be eating our words in 2 weeks. Who knows?
No chance.
But yeah, given the close proximity of the title contenders, I think it's fair to say Sutton, Ingram and Hill all did well. The one thing I will give a shout out is Rory Butcher. Not only did he get pole position, he did really well holding off Hill in the first race. Granted, in the second race, it was a reverse. But 3 podiums in 3 races, pretty damn good. Not only that as well, that I probably should give a big mention to the fact that Honda, Toyota, Ford, basically the front wheel drive machinery, really stood their ground against the rear wheel drives this weekend. I know that I don't ever mention that, but personally speaking, the front-wheel drive cars did quite well. Obviously, we don't know what to expect going into Brands, but judging by previous form, front-wheel drive is the car to have. So who knows? With Sutton and Ingram driving front-wheel drive machinery, who knows? We'll see where things go. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this race review up here, and let us know down in the comments what your thoughts on this weekend's racing was. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Like I said, feel free to check out the playlist for all of our race reviews. It will be down in the description, and we are going to be working on getting all of the ones that were previously took down by ITV. That's if you're wondering where they all went. We're actually going to try and get them back up for you guys and try and get them re-uploaded. Thank you very much for your continued support throughout this season. We'll obviously be back in 2 weeks' time for the finale at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Hope to see you guys there, and may the best man win for the championship. Until then, though, thank you very much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and we will see you at Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time. Ta-ra!
Bye.